All right, MSP leaders, jumping into part two of the service department gross profit conversation. We talked a little bit about calculation being the biggest problem we have. Second biggest problem, pricing. So how do we look at pricing when it comes to service department gross profit? We know our target's 55%. Again, yours may be a little higher or a little lower. But what other metrics can we look at from a pricing side to determine if we're on track? First things first, agreement gross profit. We have the same problem with agreement gross profit as we have with service department gross profit. Calculation gets even harder here to make sure that we're hitting that 65% profitability. First things first, are all the tools required to deliver that agreement in that agreement? Number one, is it priced right so they can do the accurate calculation? Second, and more challenging, is all of the labor required to deliver that agreement in the agreement. And what I mean is labor can be either too small or too large. If we're padding hours in agreement, it'll make us do bad decisions, right? If we don't have all the hours in there, or if we're not completely delivering 100% of the services we promised, that agreement gross profit can look better than it is. So look at our agreement gross profit, find your target. Ours is 65%. You can be higher or lower, right? But at the end of the day, make sure that the calculation is accurate and that you're at least trajectorying towards that 65% on the long haul. Month over month, we may have some ups and downs, but when we look at the complete agreement, we should be in that 65% range. Second is project labor rates and hourly labor rates. Now, this one is a little easier to change because agreements, we could have 3-year agreements. We might be tied to pricing for a while. We can change all future pricing for agreements, but hourly rates and project labor rates, we can typically change pretty quickly. Now, a good rule of thumb is to say we want to be roughly 4.5 times at a minimum the hourly labor rate of a class that we're billing for. So sounds a little complicated, but let's say our average technician makes $50,000. That's roughly $25 an hour, right? If we multiply that by 4.5, we get $112.50. That would be the minimum amount that we can charge to do a project or do hourly work. And this is really important because a lot of times we pick a rate based on our geography or our competition or what we think people want to spend, but it can really cause challenges if we're not charging enough to have the availability of that person on the bench ready to go do project work, ready to go do hourly work. Now, pricing is challenging, but if we know what our agreement gross profit needs to be, we can price our solutions to match that. Same thing for our project labor and our hourly labor. Now, if you have any troubles with this at all, please hit me up. I'm Jim Peterson, Principal Solution Advisor at ConnectWise, and I'm here to help. Have a great day.